Superman #1 will be the first comic from DC available to purchase as a digital collectible comic or NFT. Let's look into this. What's up, WAGME fam? This is Crypto Addict with a Palm NFT Studio video because they just launched some exciting news today. Superman #1 will be coming to Palm NFT Studios, and we are going to deep dive into the Medium article. Before we start, please take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this video. But diving right in, we're going to read this article together regarding Superman #1. For those unaware of Palm NFT Studios and wish for a deeper dive on them and their collections, go ahead and leave a comment about what you want to know and we'll try to make some content for you guys. But I'm just going to go ahead and pull up the article here. Alright, it says DC Collectible Comics launched October 27th with Superman #1. Superman #1 will be the first comic from DC available to purchase as a digital collectible comic, which is major news if you guys are not aware. This comic is, I believe, the highest paid physical comic so far. Let me go ahead and pull up the article here. Alright, yeah, it says right here from CGC that the copy of Spider-Man #1 sells for a record 5.3 million. That's an 8.0 grade. Going privately, it was traded privately January 2022 for 5.3 million. That is insane. That beats the previous record of 3.6 million for Amazing Fantasy 15, which was purchased last year. So that is incredible, making this the highest paid comic, physical comic, at 5.3 million. So for those of you considering this comic, those of you wondering if this comic is valuable at all in the physical world or sought after, aside from like Action Comics #1, this is a really big deal. Superman #1 is a major comic, as you can see here, and it is very, very sought after and valuable here. Alright, but back into the article, what we have here. On October 27th, which is in 2 days, DC Collectible Comics, DC3, are coming to the NFT.DCUniverse.com. The new weekly drops will feature variant covers and gradings that physical comic book collectors have enjoyed over the years, now on a digital platform. So that is actually interesting. They reference grading. So grading is interesting. Variant covers we've seen on like Vivi with their variant covers. Grading we haven't, and that was always something that we thought about and considered. How they would grade digital NFTs, because every single NFT is pretty much already in mint condition. Aside from that, they also said that they're going to have weekly drops. So this is something we can begin to look forward to on a weekly basis as they begin to release all of these DC comics. And this picture here I found kind of interesting. They actually have the Legacy Cow cover right here. If you guys didn't notice it, that's cool to see that that is a highlighted comic. Alright, but going along, it says DC Collectible Comics will be released from 2 categories, Legacy and Modern. Legacy comics include releases of classic comic issues that may have been out of print for years, while Modern comics will highlight a selection of recent releases from DC's extensive lineup of comics. So they're actually going to separate their old comics that they're releasing with the modern comics that they're currently printing out. Each DC collectible comic will have one of 5 levels of rarity that are randomly assigned at the time of purchase: common, uncommon, rare, epic, or legendary. And every collectible comic in your collection will unlock the corresponding full issue in the DC NFT Online Comic Reader. You can read your comics anytime and build your own DC Collectible Comic library. So if you actually have the Legacy Cow, in your library, and if you actually tried the online comic reader, I think that comic reader was incredible. Like at first when I opened it, I was kind of confused because I was trying to flip a page and it was zooming in and out of panels. And then I realized it's actually taking you panel to panel, which makes it easier to read each panel of the comic. And I thought that was incredible. Once I understood that, it was so easy to read the comic. And yeah, I thought it was just awesome. I really liked it. I really liked the online comic reader that they've created. They also have the rarity tiers, so I'm not sure if it's going to be similar if you're familiar with VV, how they have their tiers and each tier has a different variant. But it sounds like that may be the case with this as well. So that if you're familiar with VV, that would be something that you already are kind of familiar with. Going on, it says the first DC collectible comic to be sold on the blockchain is Superman #1 on October 27th at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for $9.99, featuring the origin of the Man of Steel, Clark Kent's first day at the Daily Star newspaper, and Superman. This iconic 1939 release is written by Jerry Siegel, with art by Joel Shuster and Fred Gardenier. Superman's #1 drop will be limited to 3,000 minted editions. So to make that clear, there's going to be 3,000 total editions of Superman #1, and that is a very, very scarce comic. If you're familiar, I tend to refer to this a lot as far as VV because it's the closest comparison that we have to NFT Comics, being from Marvel to this. 3,000 mints of a comic is unheard of. That is extremely super ultra rare, and that is going to be very sought after. Being a comic with, you could say, this much value in the physical world and also being this scarce in the digital world, DC really wanted this to be sought after, and it will be. Being the first NFT comic from DC that is actually sold on and keyword is they said sold on the blockchain, and only 3,000 minted. That is incredible. That is going to make it one of the most valuable comics that they will ever have in NFT format, in my opinion, if the edition size remains as it is. And moving along, we have the Batman the Legacy Cow #1, one of the newest DC comics created with the help of the DC Bat Cows community, will be released today, October 25th, exclusively to Batman the Legacy Cow NFT holders. Batman the Legacy Cow #1 is the story of the cows. Over the years, Batman has designed various specialist cows and other Bat-Kit for a specific task. He keeps them all secure in the Batcave, but one went missing. For the last several months, Bat-Cow holders helped shape the hows, whats, and whys of the comics through a series of votes to develop the story of Batman's newest mystery. So if you are a cow holder, you know there was a series of votes. It seemed like 2 or 3 every single week. We went through about 20 questions and we voted for everything that is on this comic. And I read the comic. It was incredible. If you read the comic, you got to see everything you voted on play out, and it was, to me, a thing of beauty. I really enjoyed it, and it hit a little different knowing that you played a part in that comic's creation. I did not originally think I would feel this attached to the comic, but this comic hits a little different just because of your involvement with the voting process. And I think that was something that I overlooked as something that I would actually enjoy. And just by how that turned out, I really am going to consider future votes a lot more than how I was actually looking forward to the previous votes. So really excited for that. If you do not have a cow and want to participate in that, I do recommend doing that because, like I said, this comic hit different just because of that voting factor. New titles will be announced regularly on nft.dcuniverse.com, so stay tuned. In the meantime, check out our facts for upcoming release. And it looks like they're going into some FAQs here. But yeah, if you are interested in any of these comics, it looks like they're going to begin rolling out their comics now on Palm NFT Studios. So if you love DC Comics, this is something you want to get into, I would say now. This is a start, and this is going to be the start of a huge library of comics that they plan on having on a platform. It says that they do plan on releasing this weekly, but you can see them ramping it up later on in the future, possibly, just to get the entire library kind of caught up. No, not every single comic is gonna go way above retail price. That's just how it is. Once a ton of comics are released and there's a huge selection, you're going to begin buying what you want and what you enjoy reading. So everything you buy is not going to be there just to make a profit. You know, you're going to be buying what you want to collect and what you want to read. And that's how it should be. But for something like Superman #1 being that scarce, you can see like any project, when there's hype, you can begin to see a lot of flippers coming into the market, a lot of people trying to get in just to make that money, or they hear about it from people saying that, hey, this is going to be something you want to get in to make that quick cash or quick flip. So you can expect that potentially early on. Just like any project, that is a thing that will attract a lot of people. When there's money to be made, there's going to be people that are drawn to it. But yeah, I mean, once that kind of settles down, you will begin to see it turning into what DC actually envisions it to be, which is a platform for collecting their comics and enjoying the comics. And more collectors, I believe, will get into it and begin reading their comics in this platform, because I would say that reading it in the reader was also an experience I was not expecting. I was used to reading it in AR or just flipping through the pages and zooming in, zooming out. This actually made it a lot easier, and I think that was pretty enjoyable of an experience for me. So yes, I did enjoy that. All right, going in, there's some FAQs here that we're just going to look over. It says, what is DC Collectible Comics? A DC Collectible Comic is an NFT minted on the Palm blockchain that gives the holder access to a fully readable digital comic book. How do I learn about upcoming DC Collectible comic drops? Collectors can create a DC NFT account at nft.dcuniverse.com to receive email updates on future DC Collectible comic releases. Collectors can also follow DC NFT Official on Twitter and DC NFT on Discord to receive important updates about DC Collectible Comics. If a DC Collectible comic drop has sold out, are there other ways to purchase the collectible comic? Collectors can buy and sell DC Collectible Comics on the nft.dcuniverse.com marketplace, which is their online marketplace. If you go to the website, you will see the navigation link to marketplace, and that's where you can actually go in and purchase your bat cows, your sigils, just anything that Palm has already released for DC will be available on that platform. Where can I access my DC Collectible Comics? You can access collectible on the same website, nft.dcuniverse.com, under My Collection. So that will be a navigation link as well. How rare is my DC Collectible comic? Each DC Collectible comic will have one of 5 levels of rarity that are randomly assigned at the time of purchase: common, uncommon, rare, epic, or legendary. If purchasing from the legendary comic selection, the rarity levels correlate to the digital wear that will appear on the comic book. A common graded book may look faded and aged, while a legendary comic features a more pristine look to it. Modern comics that are available as part of DC Collectible Comics will feature different variant covers for each level of rarity. Okay, this is actually interesting. So this actually changes things a little bit, because I know earlier I kind of speculated on the rarity being maybe the variant covers, but they just said the rarity levels correlate to the digital wear that will appear on the comic book. A common graded book will look faded and aged, while a legendary comic book will look more pristine. Wow, so if you're actually holding a comic, it will actually have digital wear and tear to it, and that's your grade. So you pretty much can slap a digital comic based on the wear and tear. That's actually pretty awesome. Now I'm actually kind of curious to how they're going to be doing the variant covers, which may be separate releases, it seems like. But wow, that's actually that's a cool feature, and it's actually different. So I like that. I like what they're doing here. All right, it says, if I sell a DC collectible comic, what are the fees for cashing out my credit balance? Cash outs are subject to a $25 wire transfer fee for each cash out transaction attempt. A wire reversal fee may also apply in the event that you or your bank reverses the wire transfer at the wire transfer reversal period expires. Your bank may also charge you a separate fee for receiving cash out wire transfer. So this is standard for any cash out on the Palm Network. There's a $25 flat fee. All right, it says, are there any original DC collectible comics? The first original DC collectible comic is Batman the Legacy Cow Chapter 1, an exclusive comic book developed by DC and the votes of Batcow collection holders. So that is the original DC Collectible Comics, and it says here it is the first original. What was the first DC Collectible comic on the blockchain? The first DC Collectible comic is Batman the Legacy Cow Chapter 1, an exclusive comic developed by DC and the votes of Batcow collector holders. The first DC Collectible comic available for sale is Superman #1. So they say it right here. They clarified it for you. The first DC Collectible comic is Batman the Legacy Cow Chapter 1. So it is Chapter 1. Chapter 2 may just be an entirely separate comic. But Chapter 1 is what they're saying here is the first. And the first available for purchase is Superman #1. So to distinguish, the Legacy Cow is the official first, and Superman #1 is the first that you can actually purchase. What is the environmental impact of DC Collectible Comics? DC Collectible Comics are minted on the Palm blockchain. Palm is 99.9% more energy efficient than proof of work systems such as Bitcoin, vastly reducing the environmental impact. And if you're familiar with Palm's network, there is not a gas fee because of that. What is a DC Collectible Comic? A DC Collectible Comic is an NFT minted on the Palm blockchain that gives the holder access to a fully readable digital comic. How do I learn about upcoming DC Collectible Comics? Collectors can create an account, and I believe we did read this earlier as well. Okay, where can I access my DC Collectible Comics? It says, when users create a DC NFT account, Palm NFT Studios maintains custody of the user's DC NFTs in Palm NFT Studios' own blockchain wallet. Users can access the collectibles on nft.dcuniverse.com under the My Collection tab. So currently it is under Palm NFT Studios in their blockchain wallet. So interoperability is something that we are looking forward to with that. How rare is my DC Collectible Comics? Each DC Collectible comic will have one of 5 different levels of rarity. Okay, so we did read this: common, uncommon, rare, epic, or legendary, and they will have the digital wear and tear. If I sell a digital collectible comic, what are the fees for cashing out? This was clarified: $25 wire. Are there any original? Yes. Okay, it looks like this is, yep, environmental impact. Those are all repeats. Awesome. All right, well, that looks like that is the Medium article here for Superman #1. Let me know if you guys, how you guys actually feel about this. If you enjoyed this video, if you like reading through this with me, and I'm getting maybe an idea of my perspective as I read through this, go ahead and let me know. I am super excited for this. I do believe it is worth more than $10. I think $10 is really cheap for this comic. I would pay a lot more for that. And if anyone is selling it for $10, I will be trying to purchase them as well. But super excited for this. Huge comic. It's valued very high in the physical world. It is extremely scarce in the NFT world. So I'm excited for it. I'm ready to get my hands on one. If you are looking to get one, go ahead, set up an account at nft.dcuniverse.com. And yeah, I know there's some KYC that you'll have to do just to get ready for it. So it is good to get ready ahead of time. Yeah, but really looking forward to this. Really excited for this drop. Go ahead, comment, like, subscribe, you know, everything YouTube. Yeah, but I'm Crypto Addict tuning out. Like we always say, we're all going to make it. Take care, guys.